Good afternoon. We're here today to update the public on new information regarding the case of Joshua Woodruff, a young man who's lost his life here in the city of New Orleans on January of last year. Joshua was a victim of a hit and run on New Year's Day of 2016. Months have passed, but the NOPD has not wavered in our determination to bring those responsible to justice and to bring closure to Joshua's family. We are looking at this case with fresh eyes, and we have new information to release. Our homicide detective, Robert Barrere, is now overseeing this investigation. In a few moments, he's going to walk you through where we stand and the new images and information we have to release. I urge anyone within the sound of my voice who knows or believes they know anything regarding the death of Joshua Woodruff to come forward and help us bring those responsible to justice. You can call Detective Barrere in Homicide, or you can call Crime Stoppers anonymously at 822-1111. You should never, ever think that we stop working. You should never think that we stop striving to see justice done and to hold criminals accountable for their violent actions. On this case and every case, we continue as long as it takes. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Detective Barrere.
Good afternoon. As you know, I'm now investigating the Woodruff case. This case was handled almost 2 years ago now. We are looking to hopefully obtain the help of the community to help solve this investigation, help us identify the perpetrator in this crime. Early on in the case, the traffic division was able to obtain several video clips of the suspect vehicle in this case. Once I obtained the case file, I've gone through these video clips and I've taken several snapshots or several clips of this vehicle in question. Initially, they released a handful to the media almost 2 years ago. We want to release numerous pictures now, different angles of the car, front angles, rear angles, profiles, in an attempt to maybe jog someone's memory who was down there. As we all know, this happened during New Year's Eve. It's a major event for the city. We have a lot of tourists in town, a lot of people in town who celebrate. I believe someone knows who did this. The person who did this knows they did this. We're urging them to come forward and tell us what they know. The family, they're very good people. They want to know what happened to their son. They want answers. They want closure. So with these new pictures, we're hoping that someone out there who actually saw this event or saw this car maybe driving through the French Quarter that night may be able to call us and help us identify the make and model of this vehicle, because that's our main piece of evidence is this video surveillance that we have from the French Quarter. And I'm sorry, also, if you want to call Crime Stoppers anonymously, the reward is now, I believe, $15,000 for any information on this case, at least to an arrest. As the chief said, the number is 822-1111. Also, you can call me directly. Rob Barrere. I'm at the homicide office. Is 658-5300. I'm urging the community to come forward and give us anything that can help us solve this case. And we appreciate all the help we get from our community.
This time, we'll take any questions you might have.
Again, if you guys can just kind of walk us through where did it happen, what was the route that was taken, and where was the body found, and just so people can, I guess, refresh their memory as well.
The incident started around Decatur and Dumaine. Mr. Woodruff was celebrating the French Quarter. As he was struck, the vehicle traveled all through the French Quarter, numerous streets, Dumaine, Decatur, Chartis, many streets, until eventually that vehicle got onto the US 90. We believe it went to the West Bank. Mr. Woodruff's body was actually found at the General de Gaulle exit. That's where, so we have a almost 6 mile, path of flight by this vehicle. So, it started off in the French Quarter. It ended almost in Algiers.
Rob, can you just kind of walk us through? I know they're playing back here when they get video, but what are
Right.
what do the new images show? What do you want the public to look at in these
Right.
new images playing back here?
So the vehicle is very distinctive. If you notice, there's a very distinctive silver window trim on the lower portion of the car. You can look at that. There's a very distinctive taillight pattern on the car. You can kind of see the hubcaps on the vehicle. The problem is some of the images have that kind of trail effect because the vehicle's in motion, so it looks almost like that kind of ghost effect. But somebody who may be good with identifying vehicles could look at some of these pictures and maybe ascertain what this car is. What we want to do, though, we don't want, like, we're trying to get factual information. We don't want just a bunch of random car, well, it could be this, it could be that, because it's been almost 2 years. So we're hoping that someone actually knows definitively, A, who this person is, or B, what type of car this is, that they actually saw it in the French Quarter that night, or maybe saw it getting off the Algiers exit that night around, around 3:30 in the morning. We're hoping that those people call in with specific information on this car. But there are numerous new shots of this car. There's kind of aerial shots, side views. We're hoping that, in total, all these images could help us identify the make and model of this car.
Is one of those that comes up, is that like on Charters by Doris Metropolitan in Sylvain right there? One of them or no?
Possibly. The traffic division and our DFU unit scoured and they obtained numerous locations that had video. And the car travels through many different streets as it traverses through the French Quarter, eventually going to the West Bank.
Has these images been in the NOPD's possession for the 2 years and you just now found them, or is this something that somebody turned in? Is this something that's newly acquired?
So the case file was handed over to me. These images, a portion were released to the media almost 2 years ago now when the actual event occurred. I just want to get more pictures out. I believe that more pictures, different angles of this car, may help someone identify this car. I mean, there were images released, and they were good images, but we have over 30 new images that we want to kind of put out there in hopes that someone recognizes this car. Some of them who may have been walking around down there may have seen the car pass by, may have seen the car getting off at the Algiers exit, around 3:30 in the morning. We're hoping that someone saw this or actually knows who this person is that drives this car and can call in and give us some information on this person and or vehicle.
You have the sketch as well? You have a sketch of a suspect as well?
There was a sketch release that's still under investigation. We're still working at that angle. That's not a definitive right now. We're just it was done early on. We're still looking at that angle, but right now the most important piece of information in this case is this vehicle. If we can identify this vehicle, we believe we can hopefully find who did this and determine who they are and go from there.
Chief, can you talk about why there's a homicide detective on this case rather than a traffic investigation?
Well, good question. It initially started in the traffic fatality unit, but we wanted to do our due diligence and put fresh eyes on it with a different perspective and with a different skill set. And so it is now in the hands of this great homicide detective who will bring a different perspective, a different skill set, and perhaps a different approach to what he's looking at, what questions he's asking, and how he's going to go about obtaining this evidence. So it's our due diligence just to make sure we cover our bases, looking at it from every angle.
So you don't suspect any kind of nexus to another crime?
We don't suspect any other nexus to another crime, but like I said, this is the department's doing its due diligence to put a set of fresh eyes on it with a different perspective and different angles of investigation.
Can you talk a little bit more about the evidence that you have so far? I know you mentioned the different car angles, and there's talk about some numbers on the license plate. Is that still in play?
All of that was kind of discussed beforehand as far as the initial investigation went. We're still looking at the partial plate information. As you can understand, there's a lot of vehicles that travel through the city on any given day. We have yet to identify exactly what that car is, and that's the key right now, is identifying that vehicle. I think once we identify that vehicle, we could really move forward and progress this investigation. That's the key right now, is that car.
The evidence that we have is the same evidence. It's been looked at from a different perspective with a set of fresh eyes. We wanted to put out more photos of what we already had to make sure we give the viewers every possible angle so that we could hopefully get information back that would identify this vehicle and perhaps identify the perpetrator.
Are these all the images you have and video you have, or is there others that perhaps are going to be released?
So I actually went through every video file that was obtained initially by the initial investigating detective. I sat down and I got the best shots of this vehicle we could get. We used a snipping tool. We cut them out, made JPEGs. The images we have now, we believe, are the most clear and accurate depiction of this vehicle, and kind of shows some of the features of the car better than other ones. Because like I said, some video, as the car's traveling, it has that kind of trail over effect, and it has lighting, it looks kind of strange, and you can't get a full image of the car. But the ones we selected are some of the better images of the car. You can see, taillight pattern, headlight pattern, some of the trim, and hopefully someone will recognize this vehicle and be able to identify this car.
Were you able to enhance the license plate at all, or get any reading
Right now, we're still. I mean, we do have a few shots of the plate. We don't have an exact plate right now. We're still hoping. We've been partnering with FBI is helping us with this, as well as the traffic division. It's like almost like a mutual investigation for different people helping out with this case. And I've been in contact with the FBI, and they've been helping us with this case. But right now, we don't have a definite license plate on this case.
Can you describe the type of damage that would have occurred on a car after hitting an individual, like the front grille and all of that?
I'm not a traffic fatality investigator. It's very subjective. It could be, there could be damage to the car. It could be undercarriage damage. We don't really know right now. I mean, every accident is different. Every accident will cause different damage. It all depends on where exactly the car struck Mr. Woodruff. So we don't know at this point the exact damage that this initial crash would have caused.
So that car could still be on the streets with minimal surface damage to the eye?
It's possible. It's possible. The car's still in play, still in the city. We're hoping that we can find this car. That's why we're releasing these pictures today. We're hoping that someone out there knows, who this person is. That would be great if someone knows this person and maybe has been kind of hesitant to come in because they don't want to, they feel get them in trouble. Or I'm just urging that anyone with information that knows this person, knows this car, calls in, and that way we can have some way of identifying the perpetrator, or B, the vehicle that the perpetrator used.
And
in this incident.
that reward is still at $15,000 also.
How would you describe the public's cooperation so far? People called in with tips when you've asked for them in the past?
We have tips that have come in. Investigators have combed through those tips and have followed those tips where they have taken them. What we need now is more concrete information about the make, model, and the certainty of the car and the certainty of the person who we believe did this. And so while we've had tips to come in, we certainly need tips that more accurately describes who did this and what kind of car this is.
This is a real what-if question. It was New Year's Eve, and it seemed that the driver drove around the French Quarter even after the incident happened. Is it a possibility that the driver may not even realize what he or she had done at the time, and may not even be aware of the possibility that they hit somebody? Is that even a possibility right now?
I think that really leads to us speculating. There's no way to really know what anyone else would know, especially the driver who did this. I would, in my professional opinion, having worked and seen this for over 26 years, I would say it is almost impossible to not know that you hit a grown human being and travel 6 miles with that human being either on or under that car. But then again, it is, like I said, it's only speculation of what that person would know. I just know there's nothing to support that a person wouldn't know that if they struck a grown human being. All right? Thank you, guys.